I have my guest Devin here with me once again. He was with us on part one on our best new artist of the year 2021. In this video, we're going to be going over our top five albums of the year of 2021, along with honorable mentions. He went first in the last video. I'm going to be going first in this video. Unlike the previous one, we have no criteria. It's simply based off of the happy medium between what is unbiasedly the best and what we personally feel as though is the best or our favorites, which can be difficult because I am a very biased fan to who I think are my favorite singers and rappers and rock singers, whatever you may do, spoken word, bongos. So we tried to do our best to really say, may like this person, but did they make a better project than another artist over here? So I'm sure that you're going to hate both of our lists. We're going to get into it. You may love our list. Probably love mine. For my honorable mentions, to start off with, I want to give my first honorable mention to Russ for Chomp 2. Russ is an artist that I've never really paid too much attention to overall not because of him being corny, as many people on the internet may say, or any kind of lack of rapping or singing ability, which I do think that he is. My longest standing feelings on Russ have always been that he is good at everything. But that's about it. He doesn't really excel. Like my brother and I will have debates back and forth, and he'll say, well, it's the first album to ever go platinum where it's one person doing everything. He produced, he engineered, he mixed it, he mastered it, he rapped, he sung, he wrote all the lyrics.
That might have been because no one else wanted to work with him. At the time.
That may be the case. It's definitely not the case on Chomp 2. But I say that's amazing. But at that time, me hearing his music, I was like, okay, he did all that himself, but he didn't do any of those things exceptionally. Yeah. He was just
it's good,
not excellent. Listening to Chomp 2, I saw the features list on almost every song except for maybe two, and my first thought was, okay, I'm going to listen to this, and I'm going to be comparing him immediately with his features, and I wanted to know, is he going to get washed by his features? Because he has a lot of my top 15, top 10, and top 20 favorite rappers ever. He had Jadakiss on here. He had Ghostface on here. So he had Wale, he had Big Sean, who is somebody that I've been tolerating and now loving. Stop. So my immediate thought was to compare. Okay, are they gonna? You got all these features. Are they just here, just to have names on it, and then they come out here and they steal the show? But really, on this song, I'll say that he met expectations with them, or he surpassed a lot of people on here.
I mean, you got to be good enough to get them.
Yeah.
So that says a lot already.
Yeah, I feel like that says a lot for him too. Like, he has the respect of Jadakiss, Styles P, Ghostface Killer, Conway the Machine, and The Game, enough to say, hey, we all want to be on your project. Because it's definitely worth a listen, and definitely somebody I wanted to give a shout out to, my honorable mentions. My second honorable mentions was to Donda by Kanye West. So a lot of varying opinions on this album. Personally, I really enjoyed it. It brought me back to... It does sound like an album full of Jesus Walks and Ultra Light Beam, but there were some really good standout tracks. 24, beautiful song. I love how he sampled the choir and tuned them down. And even Kanye, his singing actually sounded really good on the album. I feel like he's gotten better with his singing.
Oh, yeah.
The only downside I have for Kanye on the album, he never sounds bad, but on here, the features do outshine him a lot. Versus like with Russ, I was saying a second ago, Kanye just sounds like he's not in the same league. It's like when Fabio Foreign is going in off the grid, it's not even close.
Now, because Donda is on one of my two lists, either the honorable mention or the top five, you'll never know until later. Cut that. But I think with Donda, and I want to get your opinion on this, because a lot of people are like, man, everybody outshined Kanye. I feel like Kanye did that on purpose. I feel like that was kind of the point of this album.
You feel like the album that he named after his mother, he wanted everybody else to be the centerpiece?
Not that he wanted everybody to be the centerpiece, but in the sense of Kanye was making something bigger than I'm just gonna rap and talk about my mom the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, he did, the producing and the editing and the musicality of it all. which is why it's on the list to me. So I feel like it to an extent, it almost wasn't even. It's kind of like how when Drake did like More Life, and it was like, this is a project that's bigger than me as an individual. I feel like that's how and at least that's how I took it, of like, this thing is bigger than just me, you know, which is kind of makes sense for him, because that's kind of the whole. He's always kind of been like that. I mean, for one, he started as a producer, and the only reason why he didn't stay a producer was because nobody else was interested at the time. And then he was like, I'll do it myself. And then that's what kind of took it off. And then all the time, he's always, you know, Chance the Rapper, Common, like all these other artists that he kind of takes under his wing and puts them on this pedestal and puts them in this on this grand stage for everybody to see. So I think my only thing is, I don't think he was washed because he just didn't, because he wasn't good enough.
No, I don't think that either.
You know what I mean? I think there was a level of like, I guess he kind of held his punches. I think he wanted everybody to shine. He wanted the music and the features and everything as a whole to speak for it as a full performance, rather than just in the same way that, like, if you go to see a show on Broadway, no one's like, wow, that one guy was good, and then other stuff happened too, you know? It was like the whole thing, the visual, the sounds, all of it together. And so I feel like that's kind of what it was. It was an experience that he was trying to give. Do I sound like a Kanye stan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see definitely what you're going for. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he did that with the listening parties that he had in Chicago, Atlanta, the couple that he had in Atlanta. And I feel like he did what you're talking about with like dark fantasy and albums like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be a better showcase for me to believe that on those. Mm-hmm. But on an album supposedly named after his mother, dedicated to her, I feel like him reconnecting with his memories of her, his family, and with God, I feel like that wasn't necessarily his intent to put up because he's always put people on the stage, whether that's on the College Dropout, Talib Kweli, Jay Ivy with the song with him and Jay-Z, Ludacris, all these different people, always putting them on. Jamie Foxx on Slow Jams, giving Lupe Fiasco a verse on Touch the Sky really helped catapult him. So he's always done that with getting other artists on. I feel like with here, like you said, I don't believe that he got washed because he was bad. I do believe that he, in his later years, has been slipping a little bit lyrically. Not as strong as he once was. Yeah. But I do believe that his features he picked the right people at the wrong time. Because Fabio Foreign, the right choice. But if you really wanted to shine on that song, it wasn't going to work with him.
So it was a matter of like, instead of he could have done better, he should have done better.
I don't think he could have done better. I think he did. So? I think that he did the best that he could on his verse, but a combination of this is going to be one of the biggest albums this year, and he picked really good artists to be on these songs, and he's Kanye West, so they're not going to come slipping anyway. Yeah, they're going to all give their 110%. Right. So it's like kind of like LeBron in year 37. He can give his best, but I don't think that his best at age 37 is Steph Curry or KD or Giannis's best. Yeah. It's just not physically. You just can't do it, but it's still great. Okay. It's just it's not going to be quite up there. It's not a knock against him or a knock against the album. I will say this album is incredibly too long. He could have shortened the album down to at max an hour, at the very maximum an hour. A lot of these songs are either too long. The parts, like part 1 and part 2, just combine it to one song. He's done 7-minute and 9-minute songs before. Excuse me, my bad. He's done 7-minute and 9-minute songs before. It's nothing outlandish for him. Yeah. And if you have a 7-minute song with Jay Electronica, The Lox, and Kanye, no one's going to complain. So I don't see why you have to make part 1, part 2. I don't know why you don't list the artists that are on there. I don't know why you release a deluxe edition that's 30 minutes longer, that switches the track list order. It reeks of the life of Pablo when it first came out. How hectic and haphazard that was. Yeah. So I had to give knocks against that. Overall, I give the album like a good 7 out of 10. Maybe 6.5 out of 10 on a bad day.
Where was Soulja Boy supposed to be in this album?
I don't want to know.
Cause I know he got mad about that, and then I was like, I remember hearing him like, oh man, that is weird. He took him off, and then I was like, where the heck was he supposed to be?
I don't. What song?
The only song that I could possibly think of was
Jail?
Off the Grid.
Oh,
maybe?
Off the Grid. Okay, yeah.
That was the only one that I could have.
Okay, yeah.
Thought maybe.
Or
Off
the Grid or Praise God.
Which one was? Yo, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Praise God.
Yeah, I can see either one of those. That's about it. Yeah, you're right on that. I can see those two, but I'm saying ahead of time.
Dodged a bullet there.
I know what I just said. Thank you for taking Soulja Boy off that song.
Yeah.
My last honorable mention before I get to my top 5. We've been talking a lot about the honorable mentions so far. My last honorable mention is The Off Season by J. Cole, which is a lot for me because he is my favorite artist. But for the off season, I don't feel like, for me, yes, I prefer it over these top 5 albums. But overall, these 5 artists, I feel like they gave better overall albums. I feel like with this one, Cole just wanted to solidify, just in case y'all forgot. I know I gave y'all y'all called For Your Eyes Only, like the Sleepy album. KOD didn't get some of the respect that from some people that it deserved, because it was a very good album.
I agree. I think that album was a lot better than people gave him credit for.
And then I feel like he wanted to come out the gate just to say, hey, I have a couple more albums before I retire, but just so y'all don't forget, I can really spit
do this
for a living with no effort. And he, from front to back, every single verse was nice. There was not a wasted line, not a wasted song. He kept it short and sweet. I'm going to give you all some of the best verses I've spit in a long time. I'm going to get off the song. And he still kept it really good. Songs like Close. I love Close.
Yeah.
He kept keeping the rhyme scheme through the whole song, painting the picture of this lost friend that you used to have a connection with. Yeah. And I love songs like that. Hunger on the Hillside. I love that song.
And it was entertaining too. Like, it's J. Cole is like, I won't say a lot, but there's some artists like him, J. Cole. I feel like Lupe Fiasco may be another good example of artists who are like, they're really good, but sometimes they lack the entertainment factor. Yeah. This album was entertaining. Yeah. Like, it was really fun.
It started off with Cameron.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the intro to this joint.
And then hearing that switch up to him, then Lil Baby was like so cool. Like, all of that, like, it was just really entertaining. So, is this his best? I don't know if people are gonna say this is his best because they're gonna look at like, oh, well, his lyricism wasn't in his message and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, but this was definitely one of the more fun ones that he's done. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
And I feel like he had a plan in mind. I feel like he executed it perfectly. He's like, yes, I've been giving you great concepts albums. I'll give you great story albums. This is here just to remind y'all that I'm top number 1 in this whole game right now. So I really enjoyed that about this album, and I'm looking forward to. I don't know if It's a Boy is going to be an album or not. I know the Fall Off is going to be an album. He has in his posts he had his albums lined out, and It's a Boy is right before the Fall Off. I don't know if that's going to be an album or something else.
And doesn't he have like this alter ego?
Kill Edward.
Yeah, that he's gonna
supposed to have a project for Kill Edward.
That's gonna be cool. I think I love when artists do like alter ego stuff.
Yeah. So to get into my actual top 5, this is where the hate's gonna come from, or you may understand. I don't know. I don't
Just
care.
remember, he's putting these over Kanye and J. Cole.
Yes. Also over Russ. So keep that in mind. I'm putting these 5 albums over Russ as well. But number 5, I have Planet Her by Doja Cat.
Let that sink in.
That you had Doja Cat in your 5.
Of new artists.
Yes.
New to me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you admit that she had an exceptional piece of work this year.
Exceptional?
Yes. Yes.
No.
So, yes.
It was really good.
Yes. I mean, I'm not saying it was exceptional.
If you didn't know what she looked like, you wouldn't like the album much.
She don't look that good. like she look alright. Like, it's not saying like that.
He sounds different when the camera's not rolling.
Anyway, my wife agrees with me. But not in all seriousness, the album definitely was really good.
It was.
And I always try to listen to a pop album in my not try to include them in my year-end list, but I want to give them a chance because pop music is a genre of music that I really detest overall.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
She's made it clear that she's a rapper. I understand. I'm not going to contradict the artist when they say this is the genre of music that I do, but it definitely sounds like pop music that you're rapping on. But that's just me. Granted, you made it, so you can decide that.
Pop just means popular at the end of the day. So
yeah,
that.
But I give her credit. Like every song on here is a very good song. There's not a throwaway on here. A song that I don't like the song with The Weeknd simply because I just don't enjoy songs where you're talking about intentionally planning on cheating on your spouse or on your partner. Granted, I know that I'm nitpicking because based on the other people I have on my list, but still, that's just a nitpick for me. The song, quality wise, is still very good though. Yeah. So I'm never gonna knock the quality of the song. The song is good. I just skip it. I just don't care about hearing it.
I can't think of any artist who makes music that is any easier to get stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I will give her the trophy for that.
Mm-hmm.
If I hear a second of any of her songs, I have it stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
She has a knack or a talent for really catchy songs.
Yeah. That's not an accident.
No.
You know, that's talent. Like, she knows what she's doing.
Even on some of them, she's admitted, like, yeah, I just threw that verse on there, and this is just a hook, just to have something on there.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you didn't put forth too much effort to make that, and it is still very high quality.
Yeah.
I give her a lot of credit for that. And it really, any song off of here could be a single that could be on the radio.
Facts,
every single song, even on the deluxe edition, she adds on 4 or 5 more songs. All of them are still very good quality songs that could be a hit at any point in time. And it's hard to do that. It's hard, especially now, where a lot of artists will give you a long album and it's made for like a playlist. Okay, I like these 5 songs. I don't like these 3. These 2 are okay. I'm gonna take these 5 off and keep just the good ones. Because artists will do that intentionally because they know the streams will work in their favor. All that,
all the algorithm stuff.
Yeah,
there's so many artists now who can make music, and there's like, okay, well, about halfway through there's like 3 or 4 songs where I'm like, yeah, I don't really care, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you know, it's like the first 3, then you're like, okay, whatever. There's like that one song in the middle that's really good, and then like the last 3 are where it really gets you again. But she really, like, she's one of those people who's like, I have a bunch of individual songs, and to make it easier for you to play them all, I'm going to put them all on an album. And I think that takes a special type of skill to be able to make that many like hit songs that can really stand alone individually. So
yeah, I give her a lot of credit for like kind of like we've been going on and on about just the consistency through the album. I put it over to off season 1 because I was not impressed with the off season. It's a very short album, and I have heard Cole rap better than that. It is just a good quality project, and just because I love J. Cole as an artist doesn't mean that I'm going to put him over everything, because he's not. The off season wasn't better than the 2 other rap albums I have on this list, and I can confidently say that. Donda, it was just way too long, and it's the opposite of how I feel about Planet Her. There's way too many misses on Donda, and it's way too long to have that many misses, or just like, I think it's Jesus Lord. I only listen to that song because the Lox is on it. If they weren't on that song, I would skip that song every time. That song is incredibly boring.
Gotcha.
I
can see that.
I don't feel that way about any song. I can play any song in here at any point in time. They're all good. And objectively, on the charts with fans, everything, it did extremely well. So that's another reason why it's on my top 5. I have to just admit, even if I don't love the music, my wife loves the music.
No one's that popular by accident.
Yeah, she did very well. So you can't spell out what happened in 2021 in music without mentioning her.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I have to just give her that 5 spot. Another reason why she's not super high, because I don't love it. I like it, but she's
credit where credit's due.
She's probably the best artist overall this year that did anything. My number 4 spot is going to go to Maxo, Kream, Weight of the World. I have to appreciate Devin for giving me this, sir. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Because I forgot all about this album. I knew that it came out, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get to that. And then by the time we got to like 2 weeks ago, I was like, okay, we got to make our list.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about the album, but this is one of the best albums that I've heard this whole year, and it's not his debut, so I can't say that. But from like the newer generation of artists, he is really great at giving his story and his experiences in making it. Excuse me. Giving his story and his experiences and making it palatable, making it enjoyable to hear. Like a complaint that people had for Your Eyes Only was that it was very boring. Regardless of what Cole wanted to talk about on there, people just complained that it was boring.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't think it was boring, but I get the complaint.
You get how it comes off that way, yeah.
With this, he's giving a lot about his family struggles, death in his family, how he has to deal with struggles with people in his community, his community where he grew up in, and them saying certain things about him, doubting himself, taking care of his mother, all these different combinations of things. His, how he feels about his brother passing away, and all the other candy mixed in there, the bops, just the club songs, the riding around songs, the having fun songs.
To make it all palatable.
Yes.
Is really impressive.
Because it's difficult. Like Lupe talks about incredibly deep concepts, but it's not palatable. I love Lupe to death, but it's not palatable. Cole does that. He does it better, a lot better than Lupe does. But at times it can come off as preachy to some people, not to me, but to some people, preachy or boring.
He's talking about.
Kendrick can be faulted for that as well. They don't always do it in a very palatable way where it's enjoyable. Like sometimes you just don't care about hearing about people's life stories because they do it in such a boring way.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that at all from here. Yeah. He switched up flows on every single song. Y'all turning 12 like 11:50. I'm gonna be saying it for the rest of my life.
I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that says that.
Y'all turning 12 like 11:59. That joke was hard.
That's a good line.
Probably my two favorite songs from here are Greener Knots, and Mama's Purse. But 11:59 was good. Don't Play. That song was good.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed. He was so creative with his flows on here. He was creative with how he was able to get his messages out, and I appreciate you for putting me onto that one, not let me forget about it. But that's my number 4. Number 3, I have An Evening with Silk Sonic by Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars. I already knew when this album was coming out, just to be real with you, it was going to be on my top 5 list without hearing the album. Anderson .Paak has made my top 5 albums. He didn't make it with Oxnard because I wasn't a big fan of Oxnard. Malibu and Ventura both made my top 5 list. I think they both made top 3. I think one year he did make my number 1 album. I think it was with Malibu.
Malibu I think is his best. I think Malibu is one of the best albums in general in the past few years.
Yeah. I like Malibu more than Ventura from front to back. I feel like Ventura has better songs. Like Come Home.
It's got better hits.
Yes. Come Home with Andre. The song with Smokey Robinson.
Yep. It's got better hits on it for sure.
And the song with Jet Black with Brandy. Those 3 songs are better.
That's right. That was on Ventura.
Are better songs than songs on Malibu, but I had more misses on Ventura. Like songs I'm like, it's not bad.
In between those songs, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
But Malibu, every single song
was just so good.
So good.
And I knew that Anderson's artistry was going to really shine through here. And I knew that Bruno Mars, that man can sing. Like, he can sing. And I knew that they were going to work together really well on this project and give me something I was going to love. It's not super innovative. It's nothing that I haven't heard before. I listened to Bootsy Collins before this album. I've listened to George Clinton before this album. I listened to D'Angelo before this album. I've listened to Parliament Funkadelic, or however you say that last part of it. I've heard all of them before this, and they, of course, got inspiration from all that. So I know I'm not new to this, but I feel like it's good for our generation to hear something like this because for whatever reason,
Thundercats can't do it alone.
No, he can't. He's been holding it down for a while now. He can't do it by himself. Shout out to Thundercat on After Last Night. That joint, boy, that man, God dog.
Yeah, it was really cool because it's not super common anymore, and I've talked about this before with like movies. Like with movies, everything's based on it's a sequel, it's based on a book, it's based on a show or whatever. A lot of people don't have like just original ideas and they're gonna make it and like that's it. That's what this was. It was like from a musical standpoint, everything is based off of something and it's from something that's like it's rare now that we find, hey, here's an idea that I have, let's do it. Let alone to have 2 artists come together and be like, hey, we have this joint idea, we're just gonna do this thing real quick and and they hit the nail on the head. I think for what it was so good.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I feel like for our generation, it's good because we have this disconnect with older generations and their like other than we steal their styles here and there, like we steal their aesthetics, but we don't like go back and appreciate their music enough. And I'm hoping that people that were fans of Silk Sonic go back and listen to George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, D'Angelo, and so many of the different artists that they are basing this album off of, because they did it better than Silk Sonic. I love Anderson .Paak to death, but if you go listen to The Black Messiah by D'Angelo and the Vanguard, you go listen to Brown Sugar, so many of these different great albums that have come out in the past few years in the 90s and 80s and the 70s, you're going to see, oh wow, this is really good. So I'm hoping that they can start to put younger people onto these different things and to keep carrying that torch along the way, because it was exceptional. The live instrumentation is so good.
I love that we keep getting stuff like this every couple of years. Like we had Awaken My Love, and then Doja Cat came on the scene, and now we have this. Like I just love that every so often we just get a reminder that this kind of music still exists and so good.
I gotta give Mac Miller credit, because I mean I'm not a huge Mac Miller fan, but I will give him credit that he definitely on the Divine Feminine. I felt the same way about that I felt about Anderson .Paak on some of his songs, bringing that soul and that funk. Songs like "We" with CeeLo Green, the song "Dang" with Anderson .Paak.
Yes,
it's like even Cinderella with Ty Dolla $ign, that had a little bit more of a modern feel. Like I gotta give it to Mac, did it well too. It is what it is. It was a great album from last year by Thundercat. And like you said, I really appreciate them. Keep bringing it forward. You gotta keep that vibe.
It's never gonna be the biggest thing in the world, but I love that it can still, and it always gets the attention that it deserves. Yeah, like Awaken My Love was such a wake up call, and it was so cool, and it was so weird and different, and everyone was like, "Bro, what the heck is?"
Like, you remember the first time you heard Redbone?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
It was funny. I was in denial. I was like, I heard Redbone. I'm like, oh okay, that's cool, but that's not going to be the whole album, right? And then I listened, and I was like, oh.
I didn't believe it was him at first.
I'm like, dang, he's not spitting a single bar, is he? Okay, that's fair. But when you take it for what it is, it's such a beautiful thing, and it's so good.
Absolutely, it's a beautiful tribute to his child, and just to the things that his child's going to experience. And it's amazing how he was able to train his voice to sound like that. I heard him do it live. I didn't think that he could sing like that for real.
He's got talent that I think is so underappreciated. His talent is.
I think one day he's like. Right now, I think he challenges Kanye for me just overall in music, visuals, everything.
As like, an artist and
like greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Like he's up there with like Michael and Quincy Jones, Kanye. Based on all the different things that he can do. Like what I said about Russ earlier, how Russ does everything mid-level good. Yeah. Nah, Gambino does everything excellent.
Yeah. He's never missed.
He's exceptional. I said exceptional in a joking way about Doja Cat. No, like seriously, he's exceptional at everything.
He's never missed.
I've never seen someone that's good at everything, great at everything.
Yeah, and then can do things that like. There's so many artists who try to do new things. Very few
testing.
Very few artists can just come out and like try a new idea and get it perfect. And to round out this part of the discussion, I think, Silk Sonic did the same thing. I think they just they knew exactly. It was a little, I'm gonna say it was that far out of their wheelhouse, but it was a little bit. And to have two artists, I feel like every Bruno Mars album has always been a duet with him and his ego, but to be able to put that on the side and let somebody else do something, especially too, I thought that was interesting. That
you be hating on Bruno, man. Go ahead.
The only thing I can't stand is him as a person, but that's not the point. They're both drummers too. They're both singers and they're both drummers.
Bruno plays the drums?
Yeah, Bruno plays the drums too.
I know that.
I think it was so cool that they were able to like come together fully with that.
Yeah, I knew that Anderson, he's sick on the drums, man. I didn't know that at all. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And I loved the touch that Bootsy Collins had on the album, even on After Last Night when he come in on that little intro. That's the little extra sprinkle that I needed on there.
Yeah.
And I love having like a DJ drama host on an album, just somebody to kind of intertwine everything. That's just really cool, man. And I love that they kept him involved in the whole process of making the album. Because he was the one that gave them the name and helped them bring them together. Yeah. And in the interview, they mentioned people like Babyface came in to help them a lot with writing, and structuring a songs.
So good.
Like D-Mile is an artist that I'm not too familiar with, a songwriter, and he helped him a lot with his album. Big Sean helped write on 7.
Really?
Big Sean helped write that song.
Interesting. I can see that.
It sounds like Sweetie. Like my wife was saying, like, hey, this sounds like Sweetie's rapping. I know it doesn't. I listened to it, I was like, damn, it does sound like Sweetie.
That's fun. Yeah.
But it's interesting, like, being able to collaborate with all these different people and bring everybody in is really beautiful. Like you said, I loved the last point. They were able to collaborate, and it's tough when you have two people that are really great at what they do and being able to share.
Yeah.
Because like
let each other shine individually, but also work together as a cohesive unit.
Because After Last Night is a perfect example. You need Bruno for those really hard hitting breakdowns in that song. Because Anderson has the voice. I just don't think he has the power that Bruno does. Or like Put On a Smile. Bruno was singing his heart out.
Oh yeah, their voices are very different too, and you needed both to be able to accomplish both things. There's not one artist who alone can do what they can do together. Yeah.
So like, I feel like it's a great combination. I hope that it's not a one-off. Like, yeah, that was cool, but we don't want to mess it up. So we're not going. We're going to do it when the time comes right, and they just never do it again. I hope give it 2 years, something like that, and come back together.
But if it is, that's still such a like cool thing, that moment in history, because we're gonna, years and years and years later, you're gonna like, you remember when Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars made an album together? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's like saying like, yeah, you remember when Tupac and Biggie were on the same track? Like, it's such a moment in time, and I think that was another cool part, was that this album was it was a moment in time, and I think that's really special too.
Yeah, I know we're never gonna get the Kendrick and Cole album, but I'll take this instead. My number 2 pick for the entire year of 2021 is "The House Is Burning" by Isaiah Rashad. And before I get into anything musically, I want to say that I really appreciate and respect Isaiah Rashad being able to overcome and to get through a lot of the things that he had to struggle with the past few years. I thought that he was just done with music. I thought he was never going to be able, not doubting him as like a person being able to get through your struggles. You never want to doubt like, oh, they're always going to be stuck on whatever they're stuck on. Yeah. I just felt like with the music industry, it's tough to maintain your fan base to where they care, being able to get through all the trials and tribulations that you're already going through, and being able to make good quality music and communicate all of that, and not just pretend like it's not happening. Yeah. And to do it well, where people still care and they still like what you're doing. It's been years since the Sun's tirade. So what is your music going to sound like now? Are you still in the headspace to be artistic and to do that? It takes a lot, and I'm primarily glad that he got through all of that mess in his life anyway. But for him to come out and make an album like this, I mean, I loved every single song on here. It was so good. It's different from the Sun's tirade, and I was watching after I listened to the album and formed a good strong opinion on it. I went back to another YouTube channel, Dead in Hip Hop, and they discussed this album. And I appreciated one of the guys on the panel. I can't remember who it was, but they thought it was strange how the album's called "The House Is Burning" and it has like a little children's depiction of a house on fire. But the album sounds so calm, so chill. Yeah. And I noticed that when I listened to it, like, this doesn't sound like, when I heard the title of the album, I'm thinking it's going to be you going really in depth about all these different things. It's going to be kind of hyped up like the Sun's tirade was, and it's very calm. It's almost like they mentioned the meme with the dog at the kitchen table and the house is on fire. This is fine. Yeah, that's what the album feels like. It feels like almost like everything is burning down around him, but everything's fine. Which is, I feel like that's what, with everything that you were saying previously that he was going through, I feel like that was kind of the message that he was trying to convey. Is a V, not an F. Yeah, and I really enjoyed that score with SZA and Black. I love when SZA does anything. Black as well. Six Lack. That song is really good. I loved on the deluxe he brought out Project Pat and Juicy J to do the remix of dang, what's that song's name? Oh my god, can you pull it up for me real quick before I forget? But yeah, R.I.P. Young. I love how he pulled it because he sampled it 3 6 Mafia on there. I'm glad that he brought them back out. They can still get it just like they used to. And Mafia. I love Juicy J. and I really appreciated that he kept the original vibes that he had on some of his other projects, but he still kept it very up to date. Yeah. He's not a super lyrical master. He's not going to be giving me a lot of that. He is a lot of vibes, but I still appreciated a lot of the messages that he was giving on here about himself. It's not anything life changing or world changing, but
which is good.
Yeah,
it's just not dissimilar to the Silk Sonic. It's like he had an idea, he put it out, and nailed it.
Yeah,
he did a really good job.
And I feel like.
I didn't really like Isaiah Rashad pretty much until this album.
Really?
Yeah. I liked him, but it was just like, you know? I'd listen to it through, and I'm like, it's about enough for me. Like him and Joey and even other art like Big Sean, G's, like different artists like that. I'm like, all right, it's.
You didn't like All American by Joey?
Not like everybody else liked it. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, and he's very, very talented, but it just didn't. Whatever it was supposed to do, it doesn't translate to me.
I got you.
Joey doesn't translate to me. Like a lot of those artists that I had just mentioned, like they just don't translate to me, and it's not necessarily. I don't think that they're necessarily that bad. I just don't think it's necessarily my cup of tea. But this album was really impressive.
Yeah.
I think this album was really.
I appreciated him being able to share his story in the way that he does, in a very calm, very like that smooth Southern draw, kind of like what Smino does sometimes. Like Smino, he has a little bit more energy than Isaiah does.
Yeah.
But Smino is very
but it's
calm,
that same
cool,
idea,
relaxed.
yeah, that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, like Southern folk, we go slow, we very chill unless something pops off, and Isaiah embodies that a lot. I enjoyed that one a lot. I'm really looking forward to what he does next. I hope he doesn't rush into anything crazy. Oh, also. Lay with you with Duke Deuce. Duke Deuce verse hilarious. Loved his verse, and I really enjoyed Doechii on the song that he had with I Am Doechii. She had a really good verse on there.
I like the one with Uzi.
Yeah. Uzi surprised me. I be forgetting that he can actually spit it like that.
Oh yeah, he can spit it. Yeah, I love it.
So it surprised me. And after Dark Side, I like Dark Side. But I thought, okay, this is gonna be kind of chill, and then out the gate with From the Garden, like, what is this?
Yeah,
like that joint hits hard.
So a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah. So it was a good way to start the album off, and then Lay With You comes after that, and then after there it just starts to slow down. He had a track with Smino on here as well. I just can't remember the name of it. I don't know why I can't remember the track list right now, but it's fine. But yeah, the track with Smino is one of my favorite ones as well. But that's my number 2. To clear up mine, as I've been running on for quite some time, my number 1 of the year is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. This is my first time having Tyler this high. I think Tyler made my top 5 new artists back with Flower Boy. Because I had heard Cherry Bomb, but I didn't hear the whole thing. I only heard a couple songs off of it. I didn't listen to any of the earlier stuff. I didn't like the whole edgy, rap for just to get reactions type of stuff. It didn't really interest me at the time. Artistically, he started to catch me with Cherry Bomb. I was like, okay, this is very cool. Flower Boy, amazing album. I loved Igor a lot, and this one was a great combination. I've never heard him rap like this.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I think the last verse on Safari is one of my favorite verses all year. And I like the story that he had going through it, of him being in love with this woman, her already being in a relationship, and that tug of war of like, I know it's wrong for me to want to ruin her relationship and her be with me, but I want to do it anyway. Matter of fact, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. It's supposed to be connected to Igor. He explained it once, and I forgot how it was, but like it's supposed to be almost like a B-side to Igor.
I can see that because Igor was also about another relationship that was struggling with back and forth.
Yeah.
Too. So I just didn't get into all of the lore with Igor. I just listened to the songs and just enjoyed it. With this one, I really enjoyed pretty much everybody. All the features that were on here did really well.
Yeah, everyone played their part for sure.
I wish that his verse on Lemonhead was a little bit longer because I really enjoyed his a lot more than Uzi's and Pharrell's, which it wasn't bad. Their verses weren't bad. I just wish the Tyler's was a little bit longer. I feel like he really got into his bag artistically on here. Not as much as Igor. I feel like Igor was a big shift for him.
Yeah.
But I still feel like he's still progressing really well with Call Me If You Get Lost. I love DJ Drama being on here. I grew up listening to Gangsta Grizz mixtapes, all the dedications. So I love that he had him on here. And I like Tyler when he gets in his bag, when he's cocky and he's letting people know, like, I know y'all thought I was weird, but I'm really like that on this mic. Yeah, something.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's cool how there's a connection between the last few of his albums. Was how like he did Cherry Bomb and it was like it's good but it's messy.
Yeah.
So tighten it up, and then he did Flower Boy, and everyone was like, "That's awesome!" And we didn't know you could do like the singing and all the melodic stuff. And he said, "Okay, so how about I just do that?" And then that's where the idea for Igor came, was the reception that everyone had to the melodic side of everything. He's like, "Okay, what if I just do that?" And then by the time he finished that, he was like, "Okay, I want to rap again. I want to rap," and that's for sure what he did. My only thing was this album kind of put me in the mind of Cherry Bomb again, because it felt a little all over the place. Like there was definitely parts where I'm like, almost the opposite of what you were saying of Donda. I was like, I wish like finish that. Like there were a lot of things that felt like unfinished thoughts. But I think what's also cool is that I feel like Tyler kind of seems like the kind of artist that understands that you can ruin things that way. You know,
it's like, I've heard that a lot before too. Like,
yeah,
you should have been stopped this song.
Yeah, it's like if he finished the song and put that last verse on there, it would have sounded totally different. Or if he had this feature or taken this feature off to do this thing, and it wouldn't be the same. So it's still good that we got to get every piece of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like, I'm not sure how familiar you were with the early Gangsta Girls mixtapes and dedications and stuff like that, but I know on there it is a lot of jumping to the next idea, jumping to the next beat, and like an abrupt stop to a certain vibe. We're going to something else completely different. Yeah, and drama is in most of the mixtapes. It felt
like a mixtape. Yeah, it definitely.
He's the only thing that really ties it together in most of his mixtapes. Is just him going in and out of the songs, giving introductions.
That part was really cool because I feel like that was interesting. When I first heard, when I remember he was like, okay, I'm coming out with this album called Call Me If You Get Lost, and then he was like, oh yeah, it's also like a Gangsta Girls thing. I'm like, but it's an album. You know, I'm like, that kind of, I don't see how that's gonna work. And he did it well. He did it well. The choppiness of it, and like, I think about when, I mentioned him again because he can just do everything. When Gambino did his Gangsta Girls mixtape, there's one song that's like, I think it's like 4 different songs. Yeah. And it's like, it's all over the place. So I think that probably plays a factor into it too. So yeah. It's still really good.
I'll say my favorite moment has nothing to do with Tyler. I'm sure that you can guess it.
Your favorite part?
My favorite moment on the album. That has nothing to do with Tyler.
Has nothing to do with Tyler? See, now I don't know because I thought I knew. What was it?
What was you gonna say?
I thought it was gonna be that last verse on Safari.
Nah, it's on NBA YoungBoy.
Oh.
Like that joke. I was like, yeah, like this is YoungBoy. Like he can do this.
Well, that's the funny part that I learned because my sister is actually a big YoungBoy fan, so I've heard him for a long time, a lot longer than he's been like super like popular as he is, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's cool that everybody else gets to see that now, but he can do that. He's done that for a while.
He's been singing one of the other projects.
Yeah, he's done that before. Yeah, he's pretty talented.
He sounded good.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't listen to YoungBoy like that because it's like, bro, like I don't need all that energy and that aggression in my life. I just don't need all that, bro. I'll be chilling, bro. So like, I've heard some of his stuff and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I think he has a track with the Migos. I think it came out recently. I think that's him. I either him or NLE Chopper. I think it's.
I always get those two confused.
I all the time. I've confused them. I think that's him, and they're trading bars back and forth. It was pretty good.
Yeah, him and
Offset.
Him and Offset. Yeah, that was him, and that was good. That was dope.
So I'm familiar with that. Even that one surprised me. Like, okay, he can actually spit. He's not just yelling about
Oh yeah, he's not just saying stuff. Yeah,
put people 6 feet deep every song. But yeah, that was my favorite moment of the album because I was like, I've never heard it before. It's kind of like how I felt about when on Flower Boy on Who That Boy was on, but I never heard Tyler spit like that until he was with Rocky. I'm like, dang, Rocky needs to be around him a lot more often. Like I didn't know he could pull it out of him.
I think my favorite moment was Juggernaut was so cool because you see the 3 artists that are on it, and it's like, okay, 2 of those make sense.
No, I felt like Pharrell made sense though.
No, that was those were the 2 that made sense.
Okay.
Him and Pharrell made perfect sense. I'm like, how is Uzi gonna fit in on this? And then I was like, and then it's towards the end of the album, right? I'm pretty sure. So I'm like, so we're getting there, and I'm like, okay, I think I know where it's gonna go. And then the song starts on that like what is it? Hey Miss Parker, yeah. And he's like kind of doing that like really low voice with sugar, and I'm like, okay, this can't be right.
And then that sounds like it fits Pharrell, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, this is where Pharrell comes in, but how does Uzi fit in on this? And then the song flips and it turns into that, and I'm like, it was so. Even though it all fit perfectly, it still came at me so off guard. Like I was still so unprepared for it. It was so random and so good. I think my other one is the Half and Half song with him and Brent.
Oh yeah, that was yeah. I thought you wanted to dance. Yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah,
it's so cool because it's so different. And if you ever get the chance to listen to an interview of his, he's done a couple of interviews recently. No, Tyler.
Okay.
About this album specifically. Hearing him talk about music is so cool. You learn so much, and you get to see inside his mind. And he's such a music nerd, and he loves like all the little details. And hearing him talk about that song was really interesting too.
Okay, that's what's up. I have to do that. Now, I enjoyed the interview where he was talking about the whole Khaled thing from last album.
Yeah.
I love that. I haven't seen the whole interview. I just love that part.
That's well, in that interview, he talks a lot about like being a music geek and stuff like that. And there's another one.
I remember he was saying that he in his past interviews he said he was studying like Barry White because he knew like for him he needed a singer that had a deep voice. And and so he was. I was like, you going back to Barry White? Like you dedicated to this for real. Yeah.